Welcome to the Florida Trail Runners Project. Out in the woods, out in the swamps, down by the Willie Coochie. It started with a podcast, now it's a thing. The Florida Trail Runners. Florida Trail Runners.
All right, here we are with episode 123 of the Florida Trail Runners Podcast. And on this episode, we are back on the trail with the Big Scrub 150. This time around, it was Jeff Iosa's attempt, and he got it done. And on the chat, of course, we've got Jeff and we've got John Baughman, who was crewing him. So we also get to hear all of that insight from John, which is fantastic. Also joining the chat is Joe Miller. He's the race director of Combat Racing, and he was also out there from time to time. So hey, let's jump into Jeff Iosa, Mr. Pacer Travel, and the Big Scrub 150.
Green Swamp, headed down south, headed to the Keys, Lake to Ocean, Miami, out to the East Coast, Daytona, Jacksonville, Pioneer Trail, on a single trail, running 1 to 100 miles, aid station to aid station all around.
Hey, Jeff.
What's going on?
Hey, Joe.
Hello.
Hey, John.
Hello. Look at that guy for 51 years old.
That's what old dudes are supposed to look like. Look old. Look our age.
Joseph Fuller, are you feeling intimidated by all the old age?
What do you mean? You guys are all spry.
Spry.
But, how are y'all doing?
I am doing good. I did a 3-mile little stakeout today, and legs felt good. Can't complain. And don't feel older. You feel older, Joe?
Yeah, like I decided last year when I turned 50, I wasn't going to age anymore. So, I'm done with aging, so I'm not having any more birthdays, no more birthday parties. It's just me at 50, and that's as far as I'm going.
Why don't you just have a 50th birthday party every year, Joe?
I decided not to do that anymore. I'm too old for that.
Once you knock out the 50th birthday, I don't know about parties after that.
I know. I got 50 next year. John has 50 next year too.
Ooh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
Joe, it was the funniest thing, man. I was sitting eating lunch yesterday, and I'm by myself and just having some chicken wings, and this guy walks up to me. I didn't recognize him immediately, but then he just comes up and says, "Hello." He says, "You're Joe." I'm like, "Yeah." He says, "I don't know if you remember me, but," he says, I met you guys out in the woods in the middle of the night while I was out hiking."
The Colt 45 guy.
Yeah, Mark Lewis. Yeah. So yeah, he recognized me and came over and chatted with me for a little while. We talked about, how we met out there at the Colt 45. That was pretty cool.
Which really is just hilarious because he just started chatting and then we cracked a couple beers, had some food, and all of a sudden it's 1 a.m. and this guy is still out there with us.
He started an evening hike. He left a night hike.
Like, he literally had to tell his wife that he was going to be home late because he was just chatting with us.
That's funny.
Crazy times on the trail.
But he still hasn't signed up for an ultra yet. See, that's the problem.
No. He said he found a group of guys he video games with.
Oh.
Similar. Very similar.
Kinda. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. I guess it's close enough. But hey, I guess we should probably do some introductions. And of course, Jeff Iosa, you ran the Big Scrub. John, you were kind of a long time crew and pacer. And Joe, obviously you're the race director. But I guess, if you guys can throw down the background, how did y'all get into running?
Well, I'll start first. This is Jeff. I ran in high school, but wasn't a very good runner. And so later on in life, like everybody in their mid-30s, decided to run a marathon. And I thought I was fast, and I bonked on the marathon. So I decided to do the marathon again the following year and bonked again and decided to do the marathon for the third year. And read Born to Run in that third year. And decided I wanted to do an ultra. So I think 2015, I knocked out PTC, which runs right through my town. and the community just blew me away. So I'll be completely honest, it reminded me of like my church family out there, the church community, just how everybody is helping each other and encouraging everybody. And I fell in love with the community, knocked out John Holmes a couple months later, and then just kind of moved up from there. Loved being a part of this community for over 10 years. And I think I got about almost 70 ultras. They have knocked out ultras in 20 states. It's been a fun run. Met most of my best friends are all runners, just because I enjoy being out in the woods or on trails with everybody, and it's been great. I love it. It's been a big part of my life, and so I wouldn't have done it any other way.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is kind of like the church of the Sunday long run.
I was laughing because I was looking at the group and it was all J's. I'm like, oh, this chat's gonna be all people from the Bible. You got John, Joseph, and I'm like, nope, don't remember Jeff being in there.
It's funny. Jeff's story is very parallel to mine, and that's so. This is John, and that's I ran high school and little college cross country, and I was injured so badly in college they told me I'd never run again. So I believed them, and I stopped running and did really stupid stuff, like started smoking cigarettes and smoked until I was 36 years old. And then I was walking up the steps one day and out of breath, and I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. And so I started researching how to run without injuries, which brought me to barefoot running. So I was running barefoot, and it worked. And then that barefoot running brought me to Born to Run, which Born to Run made me want to run a 50-mile marathon or ultra marathon. And so, 2014, I ran my first ultra marathon. Potawatomi 50, and laid on the couch for a week afterwards saying, I don't understand why anyone would ever do 100 miles. I will never do such a thing. And here we are. Yep. So that's what got me into it, and I've been at it for a while too.
Well, I mean, you and Jeff both have done the Arkansas Traveler.
Yeah, great race.
I love it out there. The community is awesome. Arkansas Ultra Trail community is super supportive and awesome, and they've got great aid. I mean, I've had pierogies and butternut squash soup at aid stations. I mean, they throw down.
And what did you have from Walmart? No, what did you have that you didn't have that you can get out?
Yes, yeah. The pumpkin patch aid station has a pumpkin pie that's just unbelievable. But one year I went there, they didn't have it, and they're like, you can just buy that at Walmart. And I'm like, that's the only reason I come to that race.
Which is funny because we're in Arkansas, which we're just south of Bentonville.
Yeah,
Bentonville, where Walmart was started. Great race. That race, if you're looking for a race to do, that has a great old school ultra feel. And pre 2020, if you were in Florida and you wanted to get your Western States qualifier, your option, your only options if you wanted to stay in the South was Umstead, Pinhoti, and Arkansas, and that's where everyone from Florida went. You went to one of those three races. You might have gone farther outside of the state, but those were the three that we all considered easy qualifiers. So that's where I knocked out Pinhoti for a qualifier, attempted Umstead, and then did Arkansas this last year just because I never did it earlier on.
Arkansas wrecks my feet every time I play that game. It is so rocky.
In case you're wondering, John still runs in sandals. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think even Joe, you also tried out some barefoot running too.
Oh, heck yeah. I mean, I love it. I grew up in Florida and I didn't wear a shirt and I didn't wear shoes as a kid, all year just about. And so I just grew up barefoot. I didn't really do anything else. I mean, only time I put shoes on was when we had to go to town for something and my parents maybe. And even then sometimes it was, shoes optional. So for me, like running in the rain or running barefoot, those types of things are just reminiscent of my childhood. So when I do it and I get a chance to do it, it just gives me good feelings. So that's why I do it. Just kind of, it's nostalgia almost whenever I'm doing it. And it just feels good to be grounded to the earth when I'm doing it too. I do some sandal running, but really what I really like is my bare feet on the ground, not just sandals.
So I know that's not what this podcast is about, but it helps me to reset my form. If I get things out of order, if I take my shoes off, then things start to get back in order.
Yeah, well, I mean, your foot structure, it is built for movement. And obviously, as evolution would have it, humans had been barefoot or very minimal, centuries and years.
You mean we weren't born broken, Joseph?
We weren't born with the foot coffin?
No, who'd have thunk it?
So, I think I tried it. When I read Born to Run, I'm like, I'm gonna go run barefooted, and I did it on the beach a couple of times. I haven't put much. I haven't done much of the barefoot running, but I do recall, like as a kid, like running around my parents' house barefoot. Like I ran so much faster without shoes on than I did with shoes on. So, they all know me. I have one pair of shoes or one version of a shoe, and on the race, they're all my shoes. I buy them off of eBay. They're the Clifton 8s, and I'm buying them. I have the same color, and I'm like, John, get the 6s. And you look on the toes of my shoes, and if they're 6s, or the other ones had 3s. What other number? We had 5s out there. That's how we knew what shoes to wear. Look,
you didn't care for the 5s too much. They were squeezing your toes. We kind of went back and forth between the 3s and 6s a lot.
Yeah, I was surprised the 3s lasted as long as they did, because I had a crap load of miles on those shoes. So it was good. It was good. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I know we kind of covered it in the introductions, but obviously, you guys have been doing ultras for obviously a while now. I mean, that's how I know you guys. I know Born to Run was such a big influence, which I think it is for a lot of people. But like, what was that moment that you were like, yeah, I'm going to go for that ultra distance, not just for a long run, but I'm going to get into that race and go ultra?
Well, I think it really came into reading the book. The book put the ultra distance in. I mean, before, when you heard people, it's like when we talk to people nowadays and they're like, what, you just ran 150 miles? Like, you can't comprehend it. It's just not, it's not something someone can comprehend in their head. And this whole week, someone's like, you ran 150 miles? That's just crazy. Like, I can't. And they ask all these questions. So that was the mindset I had even when I ran a marathon was, there's no way you could do 100 miles or anything like that. And so when you start reading Born to Run, you're like, wait a second, this is actually doable. You can do this. Normal people can do this. And then as you get into the sport, it's a shorter distance. You start meeting these people like the Andy Barretts that are putting down a lot of 100-mile races and stuff like that. And you're like, these are normal people running really well at these distances. So it kind of put it into more of a perspective, like, dude, I can run 100 miles. And back then the 200s were just coming out, so there wasn't much information on them. And now it's like, oh, I can go do 200 miles. And I told someone today that they were like, yeah, we just can't, we can't fathom how far you ran. I go, to me, that's like every day. Like, everybody I talk to, like the same day I did 150 miles, my buddy Shay Frederick did 140 something miles in 33 hours. I go, it's something that like we all my friends do.
It was me too. I mean, it was the book. The book put it in my mind. And I mean, that was my first organized race, 18 years after being out of college was a 50-mile ultra. So, it went from couch to 50 miler, which is what I suggest every, potential runner. It's very smart to do it like that. in like 6 or 7 months. It's really, that's the best way to do it.
But isn't it they with like ultra runners? And I like everyone I've ever met. It's like they're out there for their first 50K, the first 40. The Nels Trail Challenge is one of those races that draws a lot of them in. So people go to PTC and they've never ran a marathon, and they're out there getting ready to tear up a trail for 40 miles. So it's like the common theme, it seems like, with ultra runners.
Yeah, and honestly, we watch it all the time. Like people come in with barely. I've only done 13 miles. A lot of it is mind over matter, man. If you can think it and do it, you may be miserable, but you can get it done regardless of what kind of what it is. And so it's to me, it's a great sport with endless goals, and it's awesome. It's the stuff you can do.
Yeah, it's always interesting when you hit the point that you're like, all right, I guess this is my thing, and I guess this is a community that I'm a part of now.
My tribe.
the I mean, we'll put it this way: like someone reached out to me a week before we did the Big Scrub 150, and I knew somewhat. Kirsten Height reached out to me, and she's like, "Hey, I live 20 minutes from the start of the race. Do you want to come stay at it? You need a place to stay the night before?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I was just gonna rent a hotel for me and John. Like, barely even know them, and they're inviting us into their house to stay." And I don't know if we want to get into it yet, get into the Big Scrub yet, but I mean, me and John had a great time there. So,
Man, we pulled up there, and the back of their vehicles are all covered in fur stickers and 100. And then you look in the garage, and there's a Florida Trail sign in the garage. I'm like, these are our people, man.
and then I'm setting up to do the Thursday night show, the Pacer Travel show. And John's sitting across the counter from me. They're giving him shots of gin. And they're bringing. They're like, "You want a beer?" And like, it was like nice Leffe blonde beer. Oh, it was good. So, I mean, the only downside was by the time John was hungover on Friday when he came out to finally start pacing me.
I felt good for the first several miles, and then I'm like, about halfway through our run, I'm like, man, I think I'm a little hungover.
I don't think that John was the only person that paced you out there with a little alcohol in his system.
We'll get into that later. So, yeah, go ahead,
Well,
Joe.
I think that just goes back to the community and just how inviting that like this niche of a sport is.
Yeah, it definitely is. I got friends all across the country because of this sport. People I talk to every single day. It's I don't know. I've never experienced it outside of. I've never experienced it. I guess that we'll go with that.
Well, and I know some of your listeners have already heard this from me before, Joe, but that's part of the reason I developed this race the way I did, is to build community. That's exactly what I wanted out of this race. And so we can tap into our community of friends and people. And if we don't have the friends, we can build some new friends, and the people are out there volunteering to helping and, open their house up for runners, 20 minutes from the start. I mean, that's the type of stuff that this race was built all about, really.
That was so cool of Kirsten and Jean to open their house. But I'll tell you, Kirsten's a badass crew person too. She just took over basically crewing duties at the start of the thing, so I could go run.
Yeah, and she knew she knew the dirt, she knew the fire roads and everything. So they crewed me at more spots because she knew how to get to the spots and other things. And I was kidding Joe later on in the race. I go, well, Kirsten would give me exact points, like it's going to be 4.76 miles till we see you again. I would put it on my watch, and sure enough, right there. And later on in the race, I'm like, Joe, how many miles to the next aid station? 5 miles. 5 miles. 5 miles. He's like, most of it's true. So, I think there was one. I don't know if I had later on with Luke or if it was John. I'm like, where the hell are they? We're at 7 miles.
I think that one was with me because we crossed the road three times.
We're like, this would have been a good spot. This would have been a good spot. Yeah, it's just a great community.
I mean, so I guess before we really jump into this big scrub, I mean, let's talk about Pacer Travel, because over the years, I've seen the vision of this Pacer Travel really grow. You know, I mean, you get the live stream, which I think there's a lot more elements too between vacation, travel planning side of things. You know, how did Pacer Travel start and what is Pacer Travel?
Good question. People ask me that. You know, I'm getting it more and more because we'll show up at races and people are seeing the shirts and they're like, what's Pacer Travel? So years ago, like my goal is to have a company in the running community. And so I didn't want to be an RD. I didn't want to be a running coach. I said, what is something that no one else is doing? And I'm like, well, why not be a travel agent that caters to the ultra running community? So let's say someone's going to Leadville and they're like, hey, or a good example, Mark Gilman, they're going up to run Rabid Raccoon up in Pittsburgh. So he sends me, we're running Rabid Raccoon. What do I need to know? So I look up, well, I can get you hotels 20 minutes away. You fly into Pittsburgh, give me your airline flights. I'll get you set up with a rental car, and then I'll give you a couple options on hotel. And that's what the goal is. The goal is to be a travel agent for the running community. But also, like, even if you're going on a Royal Caribbean cruise, going to Disney, we just help someone go to Universal Studios. We can do tickets. We are a full-fledged travel agency, so we can help. I think I'm helping someone set up a tour to go to Machu Picchu down in Peru. So I have all these tour operators I work with. So that's the goal. My goal is to build up that travel company so I don't have to be a home inspector anymore and crawl through attics. But then on the other side of it, I wanted a platform because I love making videos. I love live streaming, and so that's where the Pacer Travel Media came from. And so in a few years, about a year ago, I reached out to Marty Gardner and Bobby Joe about helping with the weekly show, and they jumped on board. And Marty just got a little bit busy, so but between me and Bobby Joe, we've just been doing a ton of the media stuff, whether it's YouTube videos, live streaming races. We've done. Well, I think one of our first ones we did was the Tampa Bay 100. I didn't quite know. I'm like, we'll just live stream the aid station in my front yard, and then that's grown to other races. This year we did long haul 100 live stream. We'll be doing the Keys 100, so that's turned into a whole nother just the media side of Pacer Travel. And that's it. Almost like trying to be like a mountain outpost of the East Coast of the United States, and that's the goal. I love doing that stuff, and it's a lot of fun. So it's brought me a lot of friends. I've met a lot of friends through it, and it's been great.
Yeah, and I know for me, like the Aravaipa, the Run Steep, Mountain Outpost, all of that early media when they just were getting started. I mean, I was just graduating college, looking at the sport as an option, and just seeing those videos and those live feeds.
Yep,
that's what got me into the sport. So, like when you were, I mean, talking about Tampa Bay 100, I was super excited because then, like, we have our own Florida version of it.
Yep. So our goal is to spread outside of the of Florida and do some other races. But like our weekly show, it basically is catering to the Florida community. I mean, you can see that right off of the intro that we have, and so we love it. So it's a great thing. It's also a platform to advertise the travel agency business, and so it'll be cool to see how it grows. I like seeing it grow. We'll see what happens over the next couple of years. So. But big person that's been a big help on that has been Bobby Joe. She's been great on it. She does a great job with, we both have our pluses and our positive stuff that we're good at, and it's worked out well. So, very, very, very happy with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I half expected to see a live feed during the big scrub.
We did take videos, so I will put together a video. It'll be a little shorter than John Reed's video, but and me and Joe were talking about that now you're starting to get some videos to come out about the big scrub. So we're hoping this thing grows into something really cool. So we're still waiting for that first out of state runner, and well, you may get the first international runner with Andrew Kelly.
I don't know. Does Andrew even count as out of state?
I don't know. Yeah. No, it's good. And, we did the Florida Awards this year, which was something kind of cool. And Joe, thank you for your help with that. You helped us out with that big help. And we're hoping that thing grows into something bigger. So we'll see. So we're rolling with the punches, and we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I've always enjoyed Pacer Travel and all of that media. And it's always great to see that you're always actively looking for the next big thing to do. And I guess that really brings us back into the Big Scrub 150. So, Jeff, I mean, what brought you there?
So, so in case you don't know, this was my birthday run. So I turned 49. We started on Thursday. No, we started on Friday. Saturday, I turned 21.
21.
Saturday,
21.
21st, I turned 49. So it was every time someone would show up, I'd be like, "Welcome to my birthday party. Welcome to my birthday party."
That's how he started the conversation with me, Joe. Is he's like, "Hey, what do you feel about spending our birthdays out in the trail?" So I thought that was a good idea. My birthday was just 2 days after his.
Yeah. So Joe's birthday was yesterday, which is the 23rd. So and then I had to text him later on. I'm like, "Did you get my gist of what I was saying?" He goes, "Yeah, I got it."
Joe just doesn't want to admit that he's over 50 now.
Yeah,
I don't want to stay. I'm 50 for the rest of my life. This is it.
So really, to start out, why I picked this date, I'd originally tried to do January 2nd. I wanted to chase down Kevin and Shay, and my family just put an axe on that. They're like, "No, I don't think." Well, my family says, "No, I don't think that's a good idea." Then you listen to them. So I was looking at March. Me and John have been talking because we were going to crew each other. John had this date in mind to go do something. I won't say what he was going to go do. So I was ready to crew. I said, "I'm running this weekend, whether I'm crewing and pacing John or I'm going to do mine." So I reached out to John a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, "How are you looking on that on that March 21st weekend?" And John was, you were coming off your great long haul, and you just didn't feel 100%. So as soon as John said, "Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do it on that weekend," I'm like, "All right, I'm taking it." It worked out great. And then I didn't want to. And then he's like, "I'm in." I'm like, "All right." So, and then people just kept jumping on. They're like, "Hey, we want to help. We want to help. We want to help." And I'm like, "All right, it's gonna be fun." So we're gonna make it a good time. And that's what we tried to do. So.
Yeah, and especially with this format, because it is, that on your own format. Is that something that you liked about it versus a more traditional like date and finish race?
I do. I like doing it on my. I think it's I like the concept. So, and I liked it the whole time I was out there. You're running a lot of trails of the Cross Florida 200 race. That race was miserable because the crew stops were so far apart. This race wasn't that bad because I knew I'd see my crew in another couple miles or another 4 or 5 miles. It made it easier for me to do. I mean, I like the format. I think Joe put together an unbelievable course. If you get on that course, it's all just awesome trails. Going through all kinds of what's the word, forests, and you're going through prairies and all kinds of. I mean, it's a great course. And then you end on your Skunk Ape course. Those are some awesome trails going through those areas of the Greenway. He put together just a great course. Me and John were talking afterwards. We're like, "Why the F did Joe not just end this at Pruitt?" I'm like, "Son of a!" I'm like, "You could have started somewhere else. You just need to end it at Pruitt." So, but it ended up being the course was great. I loved the format. I loved it. It was a good time. So.
Well, I think that format definitely helps with like logistics, and obviously I saw that like you had a big crew, and for something like this, you do. I mean, you have to have a crew, but you really do need a crew. How did you go about planning your I guess your big scrub in regards to utilizing all those people that reached out to you?
Honestly, I thought day one was just going to be me and John. John would drive, I would run. I'd be running all day by myself. And so the big thing was, John knew a lot of the course already, so I wasn't too worried about him getting around. And I actually forgot, I printed out the crew stops and I forgot it. It's sitting right in the printer right next to me. And so luckily Kirsten had printed it all out for us. So we had a great sheet out there. But that was the goal was, John just crew. And then when Kirsten's like, I'm off on Friday, I can help you guys out. Well, that allowed John to jump in and pace a little bit, which definitely made my day better on Friday. And then we knew as people got off work on Friday night, they were coming out. So we knew Joe would be out there. Luke Bidell was coming out later in the evening. Greg Lawson would make it early afternoon. And then I had, as everyone got tired, I knew Mark Gilman would be able to come out in the morning and pace me Saturday, which he ended up doing, which was great. And then kind of the bonus, which we didn't know about, was Nick Urena just showed up and he paced me. I think I got 10 miles out of Nick, which was great. So, but people just kept jumping in and, so after, I don't know, maybe after 80 miles, I didn't run alone at all. So John put in some early miles and then after 80, I think I had a pacer the whole time after that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely with John, because I think we all know John's a pretty top notch when it comes to the crew. I mean, I saw that when he was with Joe Miller with the Across Florida virtual.
Yeah.
But I mean, Joe and John, I guess you can jump in on this too. But it's like, what makes someone good for a crew? Like, what are you looking for?
For one, you got to have someone that can operate sleep deprived. And I think being an ultra runner helps with that because you're already trained for it. Because you're not really getting a whole lot of rest. You're constantly moving. Basically, you're a mobile aid station, and you're trying to rest in between stops, but then you're preparing for the next time the runner comes in. And knowing how to crew, I mean, especially on this, I mean, an unexperienced crew can do it, but that means that the runner is going to have to do a lot more of the brain work, and really you just want them out running. So if you have someone that is experienced, even if they've not experienced crew person, if they're experienced ultra runner, they have a head start on becoming a crew person. So like I think John is really your second time crewing, but I mean, because he crewed us and then he crewed Jeff whenever we did our Cross Florida and Jeff on this one. And he's done quite a bit of pacing. But, that, I mean, it shows up in his experience. So, cause he just jumped right in and he was a great crew person right off the bat.
Well, I appreciate that. We've had our mistakes along the way though already, Joe. But no, I think you're absolutely right in so far as, I've felt kind of what, the runner is feeling. Or I feel like I have felt what the runner is feeling, and I feel like I've been to some of the places that where the runner is, and so, I just think about what kind of things would have helped me in those situations. And then, also as far as making some decisions, sometimes, the runner just, doesn't really want to make a decision or doesn't have the faculties. I mean, you're not only awake for multiple days, but you're also just hammering your body, so having somebody who, can make decisions, whether they're right or wrong, sometimes even just someone who's willing to make a decision, that as long as the runner believes it's right, that's all that matters.
Yeah. I think with them just being experienced, whether it's crewing or running, I mean they were anticipating stuff on the fly and helping me troubleshoot all kinds of things. So a lot of it at night just helped me navigate the blazes because Joe did not do a very good job of flagging this course. I didn't see a single flag anywhere on this course. I kept kidding on that. Honestly, I barely pulled out the Cal Topo. At night it get a little tricky, especially on the and I don't know how we're gonna
That
go
Western
through.
corridor is kind of
Yeah,
rough.
it's
Yeah.
just it's not used very often, so the blazes aren't bright, and so you're not picking them up with your headlamps. So, but the rest of the course, I mean, I kind of knew the rest of the course pretty well. So, yeah, I barely pulled out the Caltopo, which would tell you if you're on course and stuff like that. That was nice. Like I didn't have to think about it. I just ran and I enjoyed it. Just through sections, just because I knew some of the course and stuff. So only a couple of times that I questioned where I was going and stuff.
Yeah, and I feel like just the communication factor too. That's pretty keen with your crew. I know. I mean, it's like that with life in general. And Jeff, I know you had that spreadsheet. Obviously, you had some kind of expectations for what you needed.
Yeah. I mean, I just bought a bunch of food, and I'm like, well, we'll see how this works out. And and the other good thing is, like, I constantly had cell phone coverage out there. So if I needed, like, at one point they were going into was it Salt Springs? I don't know what's that.
Yeah, Salt Springs.
Yeah, Salt Springs.
Yeah, and I'm like, can you get me an icy or a slushy? I'm really jonesing for a slushy. And sure enough, they brought me back a slushy. I drank that thing for 2 days. But it was good in that, or I'm like, hey, I'm coming in. I'm gonna probably need a toilet pack. And they knew exactly what I needed when I said I needed a toilet pack. And I'd come in, I'd have a Ziploc bag. They're like, all right, here you go.
We were doing that early, even coming into some Chris, coming into Kirsten, just you would tell me, boy, I think maybe I'd like to, and I would text her ahead, and she would just have it ready. She was on the ball.
Yeah. The funniest part is if you've ever tried to crew at Juniper Springs, the trail crosses right in front of the guard shack, and they get mad at you if you stop there. And so we're coming up to the road crossing, and it's almost like tunnel vision because there's a lot of trees all over the place, and all you can see is like what's in front of you, and almost like you're in a tunnel. And as we're about to peek out of the trees, the car rolls right up. She jumps out. The trunk goes open. She gives us all the crap, and I'm out. I'm like, dude, she was watching on the app. She knew exactly when we were pulled there. She knew the guards usually sometimes yell at you. It was funny planning, just like timed it perfect as we rolled through. So,
Yeah, I also can't complain that you let me run with you on some of the best parts of the whole Ocala National Forest. So
yeah. Those were some good out of there because you jumped in at Farrell's Lake all the way. Did I take you all the way up to?
At 19, hopped in at 19.
Oh, you hopped in, yeah, you're right. You hopped in at 19 all the way up to Hopkins Prairie. Yeah. It was good. Those were some great trails. So
what'd you see at Hopkins Prairie? Anyway, you were without me going through Hopkins Prairie. Did you see anything?
Yeah. So Joe, I don't know. Do you want to go through this race point by point, or just kind of chat as we go along?
I mean, we'll break it down. We'll break these miles down in a bit, but I got to hear I got to hear it.
So if you listen to the WTF podcast, they did an interview with Craig Betts when Craig did the big scrub. And the funny thing was he told a story about he was running through, I don't know if he was in Hopkins Prairie or somewhere around there, and he runs up on a naked hiker in the woods. And he's texting Shay. He's like, Shay, if you could walk back on the trail, you'll see the naked hiker. So it was like, we're like, was Craig imagining it or did he actually see it? And so Craig texted me that morning. He's like, hey, good luck out there going after the course record. And hopefully you don't run into any naked guys out there. Is that I'm running through Hopkins Prairie. If you ever go, Hopkins follows a lake bed. And so you're winding in and around. I mean, it's not a circle lake. It's a very odd lake. So you're running along the edge of the lake bed all the way around. So you can see around corners and stuff. And I look up ahead and I'm like, holy shit, here comes the naked hiker. I could see maybe about a quarter mile out, and I could see him looking at me, seeing if I have like anybody with me or if it's just me. And I'm like, shit, what do I say? What do I say? Do I say good day? What how's it hanging?
Alcoholic thing.
How's it hanging?
Yeah, I roll up on him and he's just smiling. He's like, have a good run. I'm like, thanks, you too. And I keep going. And I text the group. We have a big chat. I'm like, I saw the naked hiker. He does exist. and then I immediately get on the phone. I call Craig Betts and he answers. And I'm like, Craig, I saw him. He's like, you saw the naked hiker? I go, yeah, I saw him in Hopkins Prairie. And so my daughter goes to gymnastics, and so her gymnastics coach knew I was doing this race. And so yesterday I show up to pick her up, and I guess she asked my daughter about how my race went. And so after practice, I walk up to her, and she's like, how'd the race go? I go, oh, it went well. She goes, you saw a naked hiker? That's the only thing my daughter said. She goes, yeah, he did well, and he saw a naked hiker. That's good. So that's a bonus. If you see the naked hiker out there, I don't know if it's good luck or bonus out there. Two out of 6 have seen him.
You know what? It might be the good luck charm. Who knows?
Yeah. So cool deal. So
Jeff is the president of the 1/3 Club.
yeah. Naked man 2 out of 3 times works. 2 out of 3 times. That was, I wouldn't call it the highlight, but it was just a funny time on the course.
Yeah, and obviously, I guess with that, we can just get into it.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of a pun, but I just couldn't bear it.
Nice.
But I guess before we break down the miles, Joe Miller, I'm sure you could probably hit us with a short and sweet on this course. Maybe for those who didn't listen to the John Reed podcast where we go into depth on it. Joe, what's the short and sweet on these segments?
Well, yeah, I want to say this. Just reminder, this is an invitation only race. And, that's one of the reasons why the volunteerism is such an important part of this race and the community. Because the way you get an invitation to this race is to crew or pace or support someone else in the race. And, so that's a real big part of why this race, and it's important also to know that this is kind of, I got really involved with the Across Florida 200 virtual. And when that race went away, I was kind of disappointed, because I had so much fun getting to know people out on the trail. And so this was kind of my, gift to the Florida trail community, because I had people that wanted to run that Across Florida 200 virtual. But when that virtual option went away, it was no longer available to them. And, so this is just a race that I developed so that we could continue that kind of what was going on with that one. And, but I'd love some of those trails. I wanted people to see some of those trails. So the concept of this race was that it covered all of the Florida Trail that goes through Marion County, because the east and west corridors of the Florida Trail do go through Marion County and come together just before you exit Marion County to the north at the east-west corridor split, just outside of Salt Springs, just south of Palatka. And so the way the race course goes is you start at Clearwater Lake, which is the official birthplace of the Florida Trail. This is where the original trail that went through the Ocala National Forest was started. So that's the official start. If you're through hiking or you're section hiking the Ocala National Forest of the Florida Trail, you're going to start at Clearwater Lake and you're going to end at Rodman Dam. It's now Kirkpatrick Dam. They renamed it. But so my thought was to get all that trail within the county, but I extended it south to go to Clearwater Lake because I thought it'd be cool just to get the entire Ocala National Forest in, and I needed a good turnaround point. And again, I wanted to get the whole Ocala National Forest in, so I took it all the way up to Kirkpatrick Dam, the Rodman Reservoir. Which is pretty close to the halfway point in this race. You turn around and come back south, and you get back to where the east-west corridor split is. And then you take the western corridor all the way to Denellen at the Withlacoochee State Trail. And that's just a little stretch outside of Marion County. So the entire course by map is about 149 miles, 148 miles, right in there. So far, everyone has gotten their 150 out of it. So it's I think it's when I developed it, I figured it would take the average ultra runner running 50 miles a day would be a 3-day, 2-night race. And that's pretty close to what it's been. And we've got some really fast people on the ticket for this race right now. Jeff being one of those folks that we knew would be able to do it with only one night out there. But it's going to be pretty competitive this year. We just had our 20th registration for the race for the year, and I expect at least another probably 10 people, so maybe 30 or more people are going to run this race this year. It's a really kind of a love child, this race is, and I'm really excited about the way it's going. So
yeah, the big thing is the cross Florida. This takes out all the shitty parts of the cross.
It really does. Yeah.
No one wants to run through Palaca to St. Augustine or that first section through all that crap that we had to run through. So this has all the great sections of the cross Florida 200. And the highway to hell, you don't have to do the highway to hell. It's great.
It's got its own, it's kind of cool, honestly. The highway to hell is kind of cool, but it's also horrible. And the canal at the beginning is kind of cool, but everything else, man, yeah, Joe's got all the best stuff in this race.
Yeah. So we're hoping this becomes just I have a feeling this thing's just going to grow. I hope it grows huge. So it's just fun. And it'll be fun to watch how the community just comes together. Like, I already reached out to Julian. I'm like, Julian, when are you doing it? I'll be out there for you. And so, and anybody else, like, I hope, Joe's pretty good at doing communication. And it's been amazing so far, the help people have had out there on course. So, and we hope it just continues. Like, it just becomes a family out there on the race. So in that belt buckle is the most badass belt buckle I now own. It is front and center on my shelf.
Yeah, and I really enjoy the fact that there is a lot of Florida history. I mean, I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to like the history of the places you run, but like the Yearling, the cross Florida barge canal.
Yeah.
There's a lot of history in this area. Pat's Island, that's a big area. I think Joe, that's mentioned in the Yearling?
Yeah, so Marjorie Harris, when she wrote the book, she stayed with a family at Pat's Island, which is not a water island. It's a high area in the scrub. And and she stayed with the family there. And the Yearling, she wrote that story after one of the men in the family was telling her the story of his childhood when he adopted this deer. And so she actually adapted that verbal account of his childhood into the story that's now known as the Yearling. And it's one of the most famous American literature books. And she wrote it right there in the Ocala National Forest about a family that actually lived there.
It is pretty. A lot of it is pretty remote out there. So if you think you're going to hit a gas station, I mean, I didn't crew it, but I'm pretty sure there's not much out there.
Not until you get up there close to Salt Spring. Until you get up there, it's wilderness.
Yeah.
And then after Salt Spring for a while until we get to the other side, closer to Marshall Swamp, it's still pretty dang wilderness.
Clarify, it's wilderness the whole way for the runner. The crew could probably drive 15-20 minutes away and get some food.
Yeah.
There's no walking off course to get to a gas station in this route.
Yeah. Nope. No, definitely not. I'm trying to think anywhere on there. Was I close to maybe Baseline? Maybe close to something, but that's it.
At Baseline Road may be the closest you were to any restaurants or gas stations, and you still would have had to left the course by about a mile to probably get to like the Dunkin'.
But there's beer across the road in Santos.
Well, and RIP to the 88 store. Hopefully it comes back or something comes in there.
Yeah. We didn't even make it. We didn't even use that as a stop. We went to the road right after. I'm like, I'm not hiking up that hill to 88 store. There's nothing up there. So I go,
It's not even a big hill.
it's
Well,
a big hill.
well, I guess at that point.
Yeah, I think that 50 something miles in on 52 on the way in. So
Did you look at the elevation profile for Big Scrub?
I think John, was it like 2,400?
Buddy, I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know.
Cal Topo has the gain at like 4,525, 24, something like that.
Let me see. I got it right in front of me. I mean, I have my stuff right in front of me. I'll have to look it up. I don't know. I'm on the desktop. I can't figure out how to find shit on the desktop. Let's just say last week I had the second most climbing at 5,000 feet. So I would say close to four something.
Yeah, whenever you look at his Strava recording of this race, he got 4,820 feet.
Okay.
Dang.
That's pretty decent. I mean, I think originally we asked Craig. Craig told us 2,400, and then right early on, I'm like, nah, we're gonna be bigger. We're gonna be higher than that. I mean, nothing. You don't not the big climbs, and I wouldn't even call them big climbs. The bigger hills aren't until you go past Landbridge, and then you start getting some decent climbs.
But realizing you're crossing the entire center of the state, and there is, from the ocean to the middle of the state and back down to the ocean, there is a little lift. You may not feel it because you're only maybe climbing a foot or two at a time, but there is some elevation as you cross the state, just total.
I think it's sneaky also from Clearwater up there to about Juniper that there's more elevation in there than people realize just right at the start.
I had that written down when I was looking at the profile from like mile 47 to 51. That's one of your big elevation, air quote, elevation sections. 80 to 86 is another one. And then 112 to 132, which for reference, that section in particular is what you mentioned, Jeff, the Greenway.
Yep.
But they're sleepers. They are definitely sleepers on elevation.
Yep. Yeah, they definitely were. So early on, like when I started, I didn't even notice this stuff out of Clearwater Lake because I was still fresh and it was dark out. So I wasn't even looking at what I was. If it was a slight elevation, I was still running it just because I couldn't at night. I can't tell if it's dark out. I can't tell if it's a slight hill or not. Oh.
And I guess, speaking of the start, Clearwater Lake Trailhead, the historical start of the Florida Trail. I mean, moments right before you take off on this, Jeff, what's going through your mind?
So the 150 miles didn't really scare me. I kind of knew what I was going to go through. And I never, the course record was in my head, but I wasn't going to make it a goal because I didn't want to take myself out of the race going after the course record. And Luke had told me that he knew his time wasn't fast. It was fast, but it wasn't that. It was breakable. So my goal was to go out the first day and at least put it in reach if I could do it. And so the goal, literally driving to the trailhead, was just keep moving, to start knocking out miles and to starting a countdown on how many miles are left. And so really that's what it is. Those trails look like they could be pretty cool, but at night I could just see what was in front of me. Early on, a lot of things were scaring me. Like I was hearing things, and when you're in the woods by yourself, and you're like, I wish I had John start with me earlier.
There was also some discussion about getting to the dam during the daylight, that would be a good first goal. Also, not first goal, but long-term day one goal would be to hit the dam during daylight.
Yeah.
And that wound up happening. But yeah, that was sort of early thoughts on it. At the start, I was doing what I do with me whenever I'm at the start line before I scream my head off whenever they say go. and just, silently saying a prayer over him for safety and so that he can have the best race that he's having and and hoping that he's feeling that. But I didn't lay hands on him, and like I didn't anoint him or anything. But yeah, no, we he definitely had some prayers prayed over him, but at the start.
Appreciate that.
And I think with you mentioning the dam, because I know I think a lot of people have that goal early on, or I guess two big goals, right? Like get to the Florida Trail corridor split. That's at like mile 52-ish. And then get to the Rodman Dam. That's like, obviously Joe would know better, but
69.
66.2. 69 is the 2-mile aid station after that.
Yes. For that entire stretch, I mean, Alexander Springs, Juniper, Hopkins, Naked Dude, Pat's Island, Ocala National Forest, RIP to the 88th store. That's a big section. That's the first 66 miles. How did that section go down?
For me, honestly, my goal was just to hold a 12-minute pace, see how long I can hold 12 minutes. And so what I would do is I'd run to the mile, and whatever was left, I would walk that. So if I finished the mile in 10 minutes, I had to walk 2 minutes. My goal was to hold that pace through 50 miles. And so early on, I mean, can't even remember much of the start. It was just, I was just trying to knock out early miles. Those miles were really easy to hit those 12-minute splits pretty easily. Early on, though, I started having stomach issues, and I'm like, this ain't good.
Yeah.
I think we were 6 miles in. I'm like, I'm gonna need a toilet kit.
Yeah.
And so I think I went to, and something I've been struggling with a lot in races is peeing a lot and having the urge to pee and not being able to pee. So I've been nervous about this race doing it. And so I've been trying to do some pelvic exercises. So early on, I was trying to hold back from peeing. And then, in my head, I'm doing, all right, I peed at 4 miles and now I peed at 7 miles. So now I'm peeing every 3.5 miles and doing that math in my head. But after I went to the bathroom the first time, I felt better. And I think they were stopping about every 3 to 4 miles, so it was pretty easy. I didn't need to stop for anything, but it was good just seeing familiar faces. And then when we crossed over 19 and hit the trail, John jumped in with me, and which was nice. It was nice. Now I had someone to talk to, and took my mind off of running, because running was still easy at that point. And me and John just chatted. And again, I liked having John out there because me and John know each other, but we don't know each other. So it was great to hear. We talked a lot, and we got to really got to know each other, which was great. And we had fun that just chatting. It just took my mind off. I was just running in the woods with a buddy, and we got to Farrell's Lake. I had to go to the bathroom again. Use the toilet we like to call the Lucian toilet. If you remember, across Florida, the one he slept in. And and then honestly, me and John just had fun rolling all the way up through Juniper, going through the prairies. It was cool. The last time I had done that, it was at night, so it was good to. No, I did it during the day, but honestly, I think I was telling John it was nice to do it on fresh legs, because you could enjoy it more. You weren't in pain. Where usually you're over 100 miles into the race. Now I'm only 20 miles into the race, and I was just enjoying those miles through the prairies. And it's actually really, you come up over these hills, and it's just a huge prairie, and it's incredible. It's really, really incredible out there.
So, Farrell's Lake and around there, I took a picture of Jeff with his phone out in front of him. It is Friday, and he's still working. He's answering cell phone calls and I don't know. You probably did an hour's worth of working while you were running out there.
I did. I think I booked 3 home inspections, and I was like, it was just, and the agents were calling me, and I was like, oh man. So it's great having cell phone coverage. It was also crappy having cell phone coverage because
Yeah.
my phone just never stopped out there on Friday, and it's just kind of I just kept working and then just kept working and kept trying to stay on pace. It was good. I
Well,
think at one point after Juniper, I think John's on his phone. I'm on my phone.
oh man, it was
I'm
early.
looking down, and all of a sudden, just bam! I didn't even see a tree going across the trail. Just about knocked me out because I was looking down at my phone. I'm like, mother.
I felt so bad as a pacer to let him run into a tree, but it was like the first time we had stopped and started walking for a while, and something happened on my phone, so I pulled it out to look at it. We're both like idiot kids walking up the trail with our faces down, and just bam! I'm like, oh, and I'm like, we got going. I'm like, are you seeing stars, buddy? And he's like, nah, I'm okay, but damn. Oh man, I felt bad.
Yeah, it was good. I think I made it up to. I think I kept on that 12-minute pace all the way up through Hopkins Prairie. I think leaving Hopkins Prairie, I was still on that 12-minute pace, and then I started falling off of it. And then at 48 miles, we came in. My goal was to hit 10 hours and 50 miles. We came in at 48 miles, or I came in at 48 miles, and I hadn't sat down yet. And I'm like, all right, I need a reset. And I sat down for about 5-6 minutes. Kind of did a hard reset, got some food in. And then by the time I hit the 50 mile, I think I was at 10 hours and 20 minutes. So it's just 20 minutes over what I needed to be. But then those next trails are just fun going through, going towards the split, the 88 store, and then after the 88 store, you hit Delancey Campground.
Yeah, just south of the 88 store, you got those rolling hills and those open. It's open and rolling, and it's a pine forest, and it is some of the most beautiful trail.
Yeah,
it's just unbelievable down there.
Yeah.
That's where I saw my first Florida bear in that area. Did you see the bears?
Oh wow, that would make that even better.
So so that was cool. And then we hit Delancey. I think that's when Greg Lawson showed up.
Yeah, that's when Greg showed up, was at Delancey. And we were trying to get Luke, but we had a problem with the pin.
Yeah. So
Joe, where did you show up? Didn't you show up there at Delancey also?
No, Delancey on the way back.
Yeah, just a little after.
Okay.
Yeah. So on the way up, that was, I think it was nice to run those. I've always been miserable in that section on the Cross Florida 200. So it was nice to kind of be having decent leg strength and moving fairly well. And, I remember every time I've ever done that section, I've been on Cal Topo, like, when am I going to hit the dam? When am I going to hit the dam? And this time I didn't have to. And sure enough, at the one point I did think, when am I going to hit the dam? You come around the corner, you see the river in front of you. You're like, yes, nice. And you make the turn, you got a little bit, and then you jump up on the dam, and then it's just a long pavement to the dam.
When that section's groomed, it's awesome. And Kirsten had said that the trail folks had just gotten out there a couple of weeks before and really worked on that section. But like when you went through there on your across Florida, that section was almost impassable.
Yeah, it was so grown up that I couldn't see the trail at all, and it was headlights, from blaze to blaze, and the blazes were so far apart that your light wouldn't travel from one to the next, and some of the blazes were faded, so you couldn't see them. So I really had a heck of a time navigating that, not even knowing if I was on trail some of the time.
I know when I went through there, it was just beautiful, but I was in a rainstorm.
Well, by the time they had went to having the supported across Florida 200 in November, the crew had been out there, volunteers about there had cleared the trail, and it was in really good shape for that race.
Yeah. And there are awesome trails in that area.
Yeah. And then I just got up to the dam, and we had a good crew up there, because Greg had joined us, John was there, and then that was Kirsten. I think you guys left her at the dam and she got picked up.
Yeah, Jean was coming to get her, and she was like running 10 minutes or something like that. And so we just dumped her and left her. I realized it like 2 or 3 hours later. I sent her a text. I'm like, "Oh shoot, did you get picked up?"
But so it was fun. It was good getting up to the dam by sunset, and we actually posted a video as I'm running across the dam. You can see the sunset in the distance. So that was the goal, and we got up there, and John's like, "Well, goal number one's met." And so we did a little bit of reset, and then turned around, and now it's time to head back to the split. And it was still light out. I think from the dam to the next cruise stop was only 2 miles, so that was nice. So you had a stop 2 miles to the dam and then 2 miles back. So that kind of made it nice. So I moved through that section. I think I got stung by a bee as I entered a trail off of the dam, and wasn't too bad on my eye. My eye was just hurting, but continue moving. I think I made it back to that next, just as it was getting dark.
You're no pacer in there, aren't you?
What's that?
You were no pacer in there, right?
Yeah, no pacer. We got back there. I think that's where Joe jumped in. Joe jumped in either there or at. I think he was there.
Yeah, it was that when you turn around from the dam, that next aid stop. So, one of the things that is really interesting about this course is, of course, I gave you guys a bunch of recommended stops. Like, this is where they were sites that are known to me that I'm like, these are good spots. You're safe to stop at these locations, but you can crew anywhere on this course that your crew can get to you. And so John took well advantage of that and getting to you early and often, because like you said, that when some of these other races where you're out there and you're 20 miles between crew, it's really tough. And we have someone that's come out here, in the summer months, every 3 or 4 miles, you're wanting to see your crew so you can get that water in you.
Yeah.
Yep. Hey, how did you find us anyways? I don't even, did Greg send you a pin or something?
Nope. I just know the trails well enough to guess where you was going to be.
Wow. Dang. That's pretty incredible.
And I pulled up right as Jeff was coming out of the woods.
That was well timed. Yeah.
It was nice. I went up, I got a big hug, and then kept rolling, because I think the next stop was Delancey. And so still cruising. That section it started getting dark, and I hadn't seen any deer to that point. Then as soon as it got dark, it seemed like they all came out. Everywhere I turned in my headlamp, I had eyes looking at me, or I could see them running in the distance. It looked like bicycle wheels, their tails kind of rotating with their back hips as they were running through the woods. So it was getting interesting heading back towards the Lansing. I couldn't wait to get I knew Luke was close, and I couldn't wait to get a pacer there. I think we missed him at Delancey, and the next stop, I think it was another 5 miles till we hit the split, the east-west corridor split, and I think that's where I picked up Luke finally joined us there.
That's where you got me, actually. You got me there again.
Oh, I got you there? Okay.
Yeah, because I'd never gotten to do that split before. But one thing I was going to say there was, I wasn't expecting to have as many people show up and to stay as long as they did. Greg Lawson got out there Friday evening and he stayed the whole way, and then Joe showed up and he stayed the whole way. And I was just thinking, hey, these people are going to show up, say howdy, pat the runner on the ass, and that's it. But no, this community just, they just threw themselves into it, and I had a lot of help.
Yeah. It turned into a rolling party that got bigger and bigger.
It kind of did turn into a rolling party.
A bunch of dudes in the woods. What's Kirsten? Left? And the official uniform was the Pacer travel shirt and the John Reed hat, the Florida Trail hat, the You Run You hat. That's what every single one of us was wearing that, except for Nick Urena, who had what do you have, a pickle hat or a penis hat? I can't remember what he had on his hat. Damn
Yeah,
oddball.
and I guess kind of for reference too, because when you're coming back, Lake Delancey is I think 73.7 miles ish or something close to that, 74.
Yeah.
And then when you hit that split again, that's around 76.6. When
The
did
split is about 80. So after Delancey, you hit 70, and then you still have a couple more. Literally right after Delancey, you hit the 75 mark, and then the split is about 80 miles.
Yeah, and at what point when did you think you were going to sleep? Or did you have a sleep plan?
No, I didn't. We were just gonna play it and see how the goal was not to sleep. I was trying to make it through without sleeping. And
But you're suffering some at this point. I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there. You know, when you got south of Delancey and headed toward the split, you're starting to feel pretty dang ultra at that point.
yeah.
And so the pace is starting to slow a little bit, and the temperatures are really dropping on us too. And
Yeah, I think I wasn't prepared for the temp dropping that quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then John jumped in right at the. Did you drop in at? You dropped in at the split.
right at the split, yeah.
Yeah, and then right away we're like, crap, because that trail isn't very maintained. The west corridor.
Yeah.
And so it was fun just trying.
We got to climb climb over a lot of down trees and through a lot of down trees and looking around for blazes and making sure. There was one time, Jeff was in front of me. I had a fresh battery in the headlamp, you know, so I was casting my light out there and he liked me behind. And there was one time Jeff pushed his way through a couple of bushes just following the trail, and I just followed right behind him, and we got maybe, I don't know, 50 yards or something like that, Jeff, and we're both like, something's not right.
We did. We missed a turn.
Oh man, and it was so obvious too when we got back to it. You know, it was blazed out on the trail. You know, where it's got the turn on it and everything. We both must have just had our heads down. But
I think we got through that section. 80, probably up to about 86. Fire Road 77. I think that's when I decided I needed to get my first sleep in. I think that's when I lay down in the in the car. And
I'm gonna give away the secret on Jeff. When he gets tired, he gets quiet. So yeah, I mean, you could talk to him all you wanted, and you could sense a little frustration and just like one and two word answers instead of engaging like he had been early on. But you know, I mean, we all get beat up and we all get tired, and then the cold did not help matters at all. I don't think, as far as our mood out there. What do you think, Jeff?
No, it went. You know, if I was moving, I was good, but if I wasn't, yeah, and we noticed that later on. You know, so yeah, I came in, and that's when I took I think I went down for 20 minutes. I know you came in once, and I'm like, 20 more minutes.
Yeah, that's the one where we crossed the road where we thought they were going to be there at 5 miles.
Yeah.
And then we went another 0.7 and crossed the road where we thought they were going to be there. And then we went another 0.7 and it's like, damn it, where are these guys?
Yeah. Yeah, because I took my sleep there. When I know I need to take my sleep, I need to take my sleep. The goal, if it's warmer out, I'll sleep right on the trail, and that helps a lot.
Yeah.
But I knew with as cold as it was, I wasn't going to be. I couldn't. It was too cold to sleep on the trail.
We put you in the back of the truck for that one.
Yeah. I had to go. I had to make it to a vehicle in order to sleep. So, and then so I got my sleep. I got up. I think Luke joined me on the next section. We did another 5 mile section.
Yeah, Luke was really excited about doing that section. Not.
Yeah.
He just remembered that during his big scrub that the section that you were getting ready to go through was the worst, that he disliked it the worst. You know, he just really liked that section. And I think he had vowed not to run that section, but then he was strapping on his shoes to go through it with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Luke had gotten up at 2 a.m. to work and then drove straight up there. So Luke had no sleep. And we were hoping he had slept sometime when John was out with us. And I guess he didn't sleep. I don't know. So he took me through a section. That was about a 5-mile section. And then we came in for a quick stop. And then we went back out and I made it a mile. And I couldn't get warm. And I go to Luke. I go, Luke, you got to find them. You got to get them. We got to figure out a place to extract us out of here. I can't do that. So he texts Joe, and Joe's like, I'll see you in a mile. And sure enough, we roll up on a mile. They have the truck rolling with the heat on. I jump in the front truck and warm up, and I fall asleep. And I don't know how long I was sleeping for. And John rolls in. He's like, hey, if you want to go break that course record, you got to go. And I'm like, I don't know. What did I say, John? I don't even know what I said.
It was never the plan. Something like that. Or, it's just, no, it's not important. That's not what's important right now. I don't remember exactly what you said.
I probably said screw the record or whatever.
There was a lot of conversation in that truck behind you. So, I mean, you were sitting up in the front truck with the heater blowing on you. And I was a little concerned you might sweat in there, but you weren't. But
no, I turned the heat down.
There was a good amount of conversation in the truck behind you about, kind of where you were for the pace, and that, he could, if he gets up and gets it going, it's still in the cards. It could be done. And, but I didn't want us to let you sleep for an hour or something and then wake up and be like, I lost my chance to go get this thing because these guys let me sleep too long.
No, and I knew once I took that first 40-minute sleep that the record it wasn't there. Now the goal was just to finish, and I think I probably could have quit the race there, but I told Joe, I didn't want to be the first person in history to DNF your. No, I think I said I didn't want to be the first one in both virtual races to DNF.
Well, I think that's a good point with the cold, because for the runner, and I think a lot of crews miss this, and I think because John, you've ran so many times that you understand how when you're running, you're just building up all of that sweat, and the runner cold is, you feel so much colder than like a normal person cold.
Yeah.
Especially, when you're already an ultra and a big ultra into the race, and you're moving slow, so you're not building up that heat, and you're just shivering, and you are shivering to your core.
And so the goal was to hit the 100 between the 22 and 24 hour. And I just felt like from 90 to 100, I was never going to hit 100 miles. No matter how much time I spent out there, it's like I'm still 5 miles away from 100. Now I'm 4 miles away. It was a goal like I felt like I could not hit. I think finally we came in around 97 miles. The sun was about to come up, and I remembered I had ramen noodles. I'm like, hey, can we make that ramen noodles with the chicken broth? And Joe's like, yep. And I don't know Joe, how'd you make that up so quick? Because that thing was there right away.
He just dips his hot little finger in it.
It's trail magic.
Yeah. So, and I learned, every time I sat in a chair, I couldn't get my legs moving. So we put a towel on the ground. I just laid on the ground. They brought me the noodles over, and I just went to town. I mean, I was eating well. So 3 things happened there. 1, I ate a really good meal. 2, I took Tylenol, and 3, the sun was coming up. So as soon as me and Luke were good to go, Luke was pacing me, we cruised, man. We then just knocked out. We hit 100 miles. We saw the crew. They dropped us off a breakfast sandwich. So I was chewing on that a lot. And we literally cruised all the way up to almost the Marshall Swamp. So they have a little cutoff before the Marshall Swamp that we go into. And we rolled up there, and that's where we saw that's where Mark Gilman jumped in. And and that was great. So Luke had done a good job getting me through almost 10 miles that we just ran really well, and then Mark jumping in. It was someone new, but we kept cruising from there. I think we ran well through that little section. We got lost once. We hit Marshall Swamp. I've never run Marshall Swamp during the day, and so that was cool to go through Marshall Swamp during the day. Every time I've done it was been at night. And me and Mark just moved, man. I mean, we just knocked out miles. I think we were back down to a 12 and a half minute per mile pace.
Yeah,
And
that sunrise, man, it just brought you back to life.
Yeah, that's what I knew. You're like, you never quit a race before sunrise. Let the sun come up. Let's see how your body does, and then go from there. And exactly, that sun came up, and dude, I was good. I was not to say the rest of the race was good, but well, yeah, we ran well through Marshall Swamp, up through baseline. We hit the baseline trailhead. That was a fun time because everyone got there at the same time. We had a good time up there. And then Mark took me, what's the next stop? Santos.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Joe and Luke and Greg, you were all moving cars around, weren't you? And you were all over the place.
We had to go shuffle some vehicles.
Yeah, but it was just in time delivery. They showed up just the same time you all did, and we took a bunch of pictures. It was pretty cool spot there at Baseline Road.
Yeah. So
and it was starting to get pretty hot at Baseline, wasn't it? The sun was really starting to beat a little bit.
Yep. You're starting to notice
big swings in this race. I mean, you were 40 to probably 80s anyway.
Yeah, low 80s. And then the next section's not bad because it's only a 4-mile section over to Santos, so it's not far at all. The hard part of that is that you have a little bit of road section, which kind of sucks, but not much you can do about that. And then we got over to Santos, and James Mathis was there, so that was a nice to see a friendly face there.
Yeah, and I think for a quick reference too, because you have the Sharps Ferry Bridge, that's 104 miles. Your Marshall Swamp, Marshall Swamp is also at 106. By the time you hit Baseline, that's 111, 112 miles in. Santos is 116, and the Santos where you saw James Mathis, I guess that's kind of the start of the Greenway proper.
Yeah, that's the Santos section of the Greenway, which is the most popular place. You know, I mean, from the Santos trailhead all the way over to the Pruitt trailhead, really is that's that section is probably the most popular recreation area on the Greenway. The Greenway does go all the way across the state, but all the recreating, all the mountain bike trails, the paved bike path, all that is in that section through there.
Yeah. And then the next section, Santos to Lambridge, what is it? Almost 6.5, 7 miles. I thought I ate well at Santos to get me through that section, and I think me and Mark maybe ran 2 to 3 miles well, and then I just went to shit, man. I was barely moving coming into Baseline or Lambridge. Like I was just shuffling in. My legs were just done. And then
I mean, Santos to Lambridge, that's the kind of the flattest section.
It is.
I mean, but you are 123 miles in.
Yeah. For some reason, I just that was a low spot, and it was a struggle.
That could be food, but it could just be it adds up, and it was pretty hot.
Yeah,
and so we got a text that said, "Put out a I want to sleep somewhere, and I want to sleep on the ground." So we threw out a pillow and a yoga mat, and when he came in, he just zonked.
Yeah. So but you said I have no clue how long I was out for. You said I was only out for like 5-10 minutes.
It wasn't too long.
Yeah. It wasn't, but you were out whenever you were out. In fact, I used your GoPro and got a little video of you. I bet you found that.
I'll have to take a look at it. And then I woke up to something very awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Joe Miller, what did you do there at Landbridge?
Oh, I was driving all the natives crazy. I was out there making up making the entire parking lot smell like bacon. So the Blackstone came out and started making breakfast. So the guys had pancakes and
at 2 p.m.
It's
bacon
like 2 p.m.
at 2 p.m.
So I woke up. I had a big plate of eggs, bacon, pancakes with maple syrup, and dude, I got up and I was a new man. It's quick to get over to the Land Bridge, and then to 49th. I thought we moved. Me and Mark moved very well through that section. And you're hitting some fun trails through that area. And then then Joe and John met us at 49th. I didn't go up to 49th Trailhead. I just stayed down on the trail, and they brought the stuff down to me. And I guess Luke was supposed to jump in, and I'll let John tell the story about those.
Oh man, I don't know if I should, but before we get to that, I mean, at Landbridge, I get a text, from my bride, what's going on out there? How's it going? And I said, my runner is sleeping, and we've got breakfast cooking and all that. Things are going great. And meanwhile, the crew is experimenting with THC drinks and beer. So she's like, well, it sounds like you got it under control until you don't, There you go. So it had pretty much turned into a moving trail party at this point, which is always fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we got to 49th, I'm sure Luke wouldn't mind if I tell this story, but yeah, so Jeff runs on and get up there to the top of the hill, and Luke has all his stuff on, and he has this look on his face like he's lost and totally unprepared. And I'm like, well, I mean, are you going to go pace him? He's like, well, yeah, but and I'm like, well, do you have everything you need? He's like, sure, but except for sobriety.
But so I kept rolling. I'm like, Luke loves this section. He can cruise on it. He'll catch me quickly. And so I kind of walked a half a mile. I kept looking behind for Luke. And then I'm like, I'm going to throw in some running. So then I started running a little bit because I'm like, if my legs are good, I need to keep going. And I think he caught up to me about 2 miles in, and he had no problem catching up to me. And so we're running along. It's funny, like, I fart a lot on the trail. Every time I fart, Luke's just laughing like a little 6-year-old kid. Laughing. And then he gets up in front of me at one point, and I can see he has a beer in the back of his pack. I'm like, well, are we gonna break that beer out and drink it? He's like, yeah, you want to share it? I'm like, heck yeah. So we drank a beer on the trail, and then we roll. Those trails are beautiful through there, and I think I moved fairly well going through. What is that? What's that section called with the rocks, Joe?
That we call it the Rock Garden, but that's just right through Shangri-La.
Yeah, that is my favorite section of the entire Cross Florida Greenway is through there. It is so awesome.
It is a cool section. And I had run it on across Florida, but it was at dark when we ran through there. So we did that, and I was starting to drag as soon as when we got to about the 200 road crossing. We got in there. I ate some more pancakes.
Man, the pancakes were like jet fuel for you.
Yeah. Nick Urena had showed up, so he jumped in, and then we hit that next section, and I'm like, dude, I ate those pancakes. We're gonna crush this section. And we got 2 miles in, and my legs did not want to move. But the good thing is at Landbridge, I'd picked up my poles, so when I started walking a lot, the poles were keeping me at a 17-minute per mile pace. So even though I was walking through most of that 200 section, I was still moving with the poles, which was good. And that, because that's a lot of up and downs and stuff. And we were trying to beat the sunset because we didn't bring a headlamp. So we were trying to get to Pruitt before it got dark out. And we did. We got in with maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes of time left. I can't remember what happened at Parade. I think Did you bring me a burger at Pruitt, or I think I had?
Yeah, that's where. Yeah, I got some dirty looks from the other crew guys because I went to get Wendy's, but yeah, I brought you a Wendy's burger. But I think you were eating other stuff, and you maybe you ate the rest of those noodles there.
No, I don't think we ever broke the noodles. Did we break the
I
noodles?
think
We
you
did
ate them
break
there,
it.
and
Yeah,
then
I
you
think we
stuffed
did.
the
I think we
burger
had
in
to
your
get the jet
pack.
foil. You're right. I think we did.
Yeah.
That was the hard part. I mean, through the whole thing with keeping food in, what did I want to eat?
Yeah,
And
it was challenging. You're an ultra runner. You're not supposed to be so challenging. You're supposed to just
yeah.
open your mouth and let me shove stuff into it. But you were a little sensitive.
Well, that's the hard part, dude. I ate so many oatmeal cream pies because those
Oh
are
my God.
350 calories. Uncrustables. I made a whole bunch of mashed potatoes, but the mashed potatoes just didn't agree with me. I didn't not agree with me, but they just weren't
And
appetizing.
you do.
So
You just get tired of the same
yeah,
shit.
yeah. And so that I knew the next section was just. I thought it would be the worst part of the trail. It was not the worst part of the trail. The section after that was the worst part of the trail. So the next section is what is about 3.7 miles of road, and it wasn't as bad as my legs had come around, so we were running, and I told Nick we ran against traffic, and you're running, and there's not the shoulder just dips down, so it's just a hard section to run on. I go, Nick, when cars aren't coming and when they're far off, we'll run on the road. When they get to us, we'll move over to the shoulder. He's like, oh, that's good. So that's what we did for 3.5 miles until we got the cutoff there. And there's so the road wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. It was right at dark, so the headlights were pointing at us, and I can't really see what I'm running on when I'm on the shoulder. Almost stepped on a dead raccoon. It was just luckily no one really honked at us or anything, so no one was kind of pissed at us. It'll be Joe. That course will be nice when they finish when they finish the trail section along there. So
Oh yeah, it'd be really nice.
yeah. So that will cut out that big section. So then the next section you cut off, and you have it's only like a mile section to these baseball fields, and then it's a paved trail all the way back in. And so you can cut into the trail early or go maybe another quarter of a mile and cut in. And Nick decided he wanted to cut in at the first part, and we literally jump on the trail, and it's a fire road, and they had just tractored the fire road, and it was like a wide swath of dirt. And when you stepped on it, you sunk 2 inches with every step. And I was like, this sucks. And so I almost backtracked. And I'm like, I will not backtrack on this course. So we made it through this parallel section with the road there. And then you make a turn and go back maybe 3/4 of a mile, and that whole section had been plowed too. I was like, you couldn't avoid it. You just stepped in it, and ton of sand going in your shoes, just absolutely miserable. And I don't know where to turn off, and I'm calling Joe, and he's like, "You're right on course. You're right on course." And I'm like, "This sucks. This sucks."
Yeah.
I was so pissed.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't know if you had remembered you'd made a phone call from there, but we're watching you on the tracker, and it's just like, oh, it's rough, man. He's having a hard time, and then you call us and kind of explain what's going on. That you're in the berm 3.0, baby.
Oh my god, it was worse than the burn. Yeah, and then we hit a cross.
He compared it to freshly laid snow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hiking up a mountain in fresh snow.
Yep. And then we hit a cross section, and that's perfect. And me and Nick we stopped, we dumped the sand out of our shoes, and then we just crushed that section. It's maybe a half a mile. We run it really well. And then there's one last section that runs along the road, and we hit that, and I'm like, motherfucker, they did it on this section too. And we maybe had like, I don't know, maybe 0.3 of a mile. You had to go up this hill until you crossed out, and I'm like, this sucks again.
It felt like it, but it's more like 200 yards, dude.
Yeah. And literally, there's a fence, and I can see a road. And I'm like, I'm gonna climb that barbed wire fence. I don't give a shit. I'm going over that fence.
Yeah, Joe, if you can kind of pin me in, because I know Pruitt is 139-ish. The Denellen Trailhead is 144-ish.
Yeah.
143.7 technically per Caltopo. But I know there's the road between then and there, but from Pruitt to the finish, there's 11 miles. I mean, where's Jeff at right now?
So actually, I think our math is telling us we debated about this. I'm like, it's 8.9 miles from Pruitt to the finish. And I got a little bit of pushback on that. It was funny whenever I said the same thing to Shay and Kevin whenever they got to over towards the Denellen trailhead. It's like, oh, you guys got about 7 miles left, and Shay thought I was joking with her because she thought she had more. Interesting thing about these really long ones, and people, we base them off of what's going on our GPS and our watch. And depending on how much time you walk around in an aid station, or if you turn on the inside of the lane or the outside of the lane, you may, or if you get off course a little bit, your miles are going to be a little different. Not everyone's going to have the exact same mileage at the finish.
Yeah.
And again, these are ish miles. But when you get that Denellen trailhead, you were really only about a 5K from the finish. So you're a little over 3 miles, maybe close to 4 miles to the finish there. And it's easy running from there on out, though.
It's all paved. It's perfect. And so I came in our last aid stage. I still had that burger, so I crushed the burger, and then I thought I was gonna have a group running in with me. And Greg, Greg, you running with me? He's like, yeah, I'll run. And then we took off, and I thought Luke and Nick were gonna join us, and they didn't have to end up joining us. But I ended up having Greg Lawson run the last 3 miles with me, which was good. So I'm running a decent pace. I'm like, how's a decent jog? And I'm like, how's this feel? He goes, this pace is my jam. And then about 2 miles in, I could see he's like suffering because he's getting ready to get a new hip, and so he's hurting, but he's just tagging. He doesn't want to slow me up. And I'm telling him later on, I'm like, dude, I'm not going to finish without you. If I finish a minute ahead of you or a minute behind you, what difference does it make? We're going to finish this together. And so we did. I mean, we rolled on the last paved section, got it done fairly easy. And then you come off of that trail, you go underneath the highway. Then there's a little bit of hills to get to the finish line. Like it's some rolling hills on these sidewalks. But I got to the top of the first one. I'm like, oh, I'll be able to see the finish line. And I'm like, nope. You see it dips down again and comes back up. And I get to the top of the second one, and then you can hear people howling, and I'm like, we're close. We got this. And so
we didn't know where you were. We were just partying.
Yeah. I had done it, but I've always done it in the opposite direction, and so you don't remember how many hills there are and stuff like that. And so we come down and basically come into the finish line, and it was great, man. Had the group there, and Mark Gilman had come back out to see the finish, and we had a great group there. And then they surprised me with birthday cake that Shay had bought, and we sang happy birthday and ate birthday cake.
This is probably the biggest finish I've seen in one of these virtual starts and finishes. How about you, Joe Miller? How many people have you seen at the end of one of these?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a few where there were big groups, but this was definitely up there, and it was definitely the biggest one I've seen at this event so far. I mean, that's an interesting thing about, we discussed this a little bit when John Reed was on this podcast too, is that this is a very personal run when you're doing these multi-day or these really long runs. Because even at the end, it's about you and your accomplishment. There's not a lot of fanfare, and there's not a big set. It's a virtual event, so there's not a big set up finish line. No one, it's just very private, very personal. And for some people, it's very emotional. At the very end, whether it's either high emotion and laughter and happiness, or just that crying and the sense of accomplishment. I've seen it all the levels of. So it's really cool that we were able to have, that party like environment at this one, because it was a birthday party. It's exactly what it was.
Now, there was 3 times more people there than when I finished second at Across Florida.
It's crazy.
That I think the hard part for me was all day long. I'm like, let's get this done early, because I honestly, all I looked forward to was finishing, and then all of us going out for dinner and getting a beer. And I'm like, that was all I was. That's the only goal I had all day long, and that time just kept getting pushed farther and farther. And I'm like, I think I can do it by 9. I think I ended up finishing right after 10 p.m. By then it was too late, and I was like, so that was disappointing for me. Was, I kept picturing the whole time on this run. That's why I started at 5 a.m. was I wanted to finish early so we can all, go out to dinner, grab beer, hang out, and stuff like that. And I think that's I think that was the downfall of the. I was happy I finished, but I was sad that, like, we didn't get to. I mean, we did have a good time at the finish line, but I really wanted that time that we all could go out. And by then, I'm toast. I get in the car with John, and we're driving back to the hotel. And every time I blink, I blink for 5 minutes because I fall asleep, and just totally just tired. The lakes aren't bad, but I'm just tired as anything. Everybody just kind of split at that point. I know Joe was running people back to Santos, and Nick headed south, and Mark headed home, and so I was really sad we didn't get that time. I felt like that could have been fun.
That's okay, Jeff. You wouldn't have been awake for it anyways. We'd all been eating dinner and drinking beer, and you'd be asleep in the corner.
Yeah.
But it's like getting that buckle. I mean, what was it like getting that buckle?
That's all. I mean, that's I tell people I do this for the buckle. I mean, I look forward to it. That's all I look forward to. I mean, I look forward to finish, but getting that belt buckle, the birthday cake was a surprise, but I couldn't wait to get the buckle. So and I mean, that buckle is so badass, man. It's probably, I'd seen pictures of it, but I didn't even I studied it in detail, and there's so many cool things on it. And so Joe did a great job at designing it. And you know what the best thing is? You can wear that fucking belt buckle. It's not a freaking dinner plate.
It's big enough that you can show it off and people have to see it.
Yeah.
But it's also wearable.
It's wearable. Yep. So
yeah, one of my requirements for this race, because the race that this one was intended to kind of take the place of, had a great big giant belt buckle. If anyone's ever seen the Across Florida 200 belt buckle, it really is a dinner plate. But I wanted to outdo it. I wanted to have a nice buckle that was going to be big and pretty and flashy and wearable. That was the goal for it, and funny thing, after this race is over, for a couple people, actually, I was talking about this when Luke finished it. We'll probably be redesigning the belt buckle every year so that people have an opportunity.
Damn it, Joe.
Something new. So if you want to do this race the first year and get that inaugural year belt buckle, you only have one chance to do it, so good luck.
Yeah, it was funny. I'm sitting here at my desk. I could see my big scrub belt buckle is on my shelf with all my other belt buckles. My Cross Florida is sitting in a Lego bucket. It's not even a display. It's sitting in a Lego bucket with all my Legos, my kids' Legos. Yeah,
it's just something about that buckle too. I mean, you've got the yearling boy on it. Yeah. Like that's the course that you ran, because the history is there.
Dude, that's funny, because I had no clue. Like, I didn't even recognize that it was I know it's someone running with a deer, but I had no clue that's what until you just said it just now, that it's the yearling. That's pretty cool. I'm going to grab it now to look at it. I got to do a presentation at my network group tomorrow. I'm bringing the buckle with me, so because they all know I run, I'm like, y'all want to know why I run? I'm going to pass the belt buckle around so everyone can see it. So yeah, it's a badass belt buckle. So it's pretty cool.
And I mean, even looking at it, you basically covered like the whole of Central Florida for this area. I mean, I guess kind of with that, we've talked about it, or you've mentioned it as well. What was the toughest stretch mentally? And obviously, what was the most beautiful sections? What are those stunning areas that you remember?
It's funny. There's the toughest sections for me were probably that Santos to Lambridge section. And it's not, I mean, it's nice trail through there, but it's not beautiful trail through there. And then at night, the other hard section for me was like 86 to about 95 miles, but pretty sections, man. There's all kinds. I mean, you hit, running some of those, even though it's hot out, running some of those, the prairie, juniper prairie. You're just up on these hills, and it's just unbelievable. Me and John were talking about it up there. Like, we were talking about it, like, wonder what it was like for the natives or the earliest settlers to come through this area. It was just absolutely just gorgeous. You're running in sand, and it kind of sucks, but the prairies are just absolutely gorgeous when you're up there. And then I hate Hopkins Prairie. I don't care what you say. I will never like Hopkins Prairie. I mean, the only bright spot was the Naked Hiker. I got to see him, but
Well, that's a bright spot.
yeah. But then the section after Hopkins Prairie, like John says, it's just gorgeous. You just got these rolling like pine forests, which is pretty cool that you're kind of running through, which is cool. And you just, as far as you can see, you're just seeing pine, like wide open. It's not like dense forest. It's like wide open forest with pine trees. It's just gorgeous out there. And then Marshall Swamp was fun to go through during the day. I don't think I would want to do it when it's raining out or a rainy season. But what's cool is that when you come out of Marshall Swamp and you're running baseline, you get these grass prairies or these grass sections, which is pretty cool. And then the rock garden was cool, and then you got some of those hills through. I'm not a big fan of the section after 200. I think it's a good training section, but 200 to Pruitt, I never liked that section. I like running that section, but I wouldn't call it beautiful. But some of the greenways, when you're parallel with like Shangri-La, just some cool hills you're going up, just where the tailings and stuff like that you're going up, which is pretty cool. So
Yeah, there's you managed to have 2 switchbacks in that area, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So
yeah, the highest, most southern.
yeah,
That's
there
right.
you go. So, and the other downfall was I know Tyler has gotten the pace everyone to the finish, but Tyler was running the Hungerland this weekend, so he didn't get that. I think I missed out not having Tyler pace me, but we got to see Tyler on Thursday when we dropped John's car off, and then Sunday we went over there. He had just gotten home, so we got to talk to him a little bit. But
Yeah.
definitely, I thought it would have been cool to have Tyler pace me through there, because I know he's been doing a lot of it. So
Yeah, and I mean, John, outside looking in, what is Jeff not telling us that you could see during these highs and lows?
Jeff he's being pretty honest, but I'll tell you, the lows were low. I mean, I don't know, Jeff, if this is different for you, this race, but the lows were pretty low where you really you could talk to Jeff and get 1 and 2 word answers, and he just really did not feel like talking to you at all.
yeah.
Some of the pictures.
Is that kind of where you are normally when you're just whooped, or?
Yeah, it usually is. I just don't want to. I just want to talk. I like having a company out there because it keeps me moving. But
Yeah.
if I don't feel like talking, I just kind of clamor up. And I don't think I ever hit that. For a lot of people, it's mental. It's like you hit 100 miles and you're like, I still got 50 miles to go. Or even if you have like 12 miles to go, a typical 12-mile run, I could do it in like an hour and maybe 40 minutes, hour, 15 minutes. But a 12-mile run at the end of a 150-mile run, it could be 4 hours, and
It's
it
a long
messes with
way.
you.
Yeah.
It messes with you mentally. You're like, oh, I only got 12 miles, and then you think you're like, well, the last 12 miles took me 4 hours. I'm like, dude, I got to be out here another 4 hours. I'm like, you hit the marathon. I'm like, if I really ran, I could be done in 3 hours and 10 minutes. And I'm like, nope, this is going to take me about 10 hours to do. So mentally, I mean, it messes with you big time out there. I know it does with me. The numbers mess with me. So
How did the remoteness of this trail affect you?
I don't think it didn't bother me too much, because when we hit the biggest remote areas, I felt good. So it wasn't, early on in the race, like Juniper and Forest Lake, all that. Like, I still felt good and I enjoyed running, so it didn't bother me at all. I think I started feeling it when I was coming back from the dam. It was getting dark out. At one point, I'm right at 70. I'm right at the halfway point. I'm coming up a hill. And I can see a bonfire where some hikers are set up, and I'm like, I may go over and hang out with them. And they're trying to figure out what the hell's coming at them. And they're like, what the heck is going on? And it's like, you don't want to say like, hey, I mean, I'm 75 miles in. I started this morning. So remoteness is not bad, because, when you start dealing with that, you start hitting like baseline. You definitely don't feel remote at baseline. And there was a race finishing up there at baseline. Santos, there was bikes everywhere. And then even all those trails through there, occasionally you'd hear a biker go by, and it wasn't bad. The 200 section is always, if you're by yourself, that could mess with you big time, especially at the tail end of the race. 200 to Pruitt, because it's very. I don't think it's remote, but I think it's remote enough that the tail end of a race could be bad.
I think that your familiarity with these trails too, Jeff, kind of eliminates some of that fear of the unknown and of the remoteness, especially on that wilder side. That Ocala National Forest and all of those prairies through there. I mean, that's wild country, and you're near nothing at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think your familiarity with it helps with the wildness.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're used to it, man. We're used to, most of us have been out there. We're used to the remoteness. We're used to it. It's not, I don't think it was too bad. I think for someone new, it could be tough.
If you can master the Ocala National Forest, the moment you get to Marshall Swamp, like that's like the king point. Like, you've got it in the bag if you can get through Marshall.
Yeah, I think that was the goal. Was I knew once I got to Marshall, it was what I knew. So a couple of things, like I enjoyed the first part. The West Corridor, I looked forward to it because it was new. I hadn't done it before. It ended up being miserable. Just because just because I was tired. But I knew if I got to Marshall, then I knew Marshall all the way to the finish line. And I knew that section the best. So yeah, like John was saying, it's familiar with me, so it wasn't so remote being familiar.
So as the race director of this race, you've ran a lot of runs in Florida. How would you compare it against other races in Florida?
Well, there are no other 150-mile races, so this is the best one.
Good answer.
I absolutely love the course, and I think I said that earlier. I think the Cross Florida was cool. This took out all the shitty parts of the Cross Florida, and it was all great trail. I also hit the trail. I had perfect weather. I think I had perfect trail conditions, and so if it's wet, it could be a whole different thing for somebody else. If they get a good rainstorm or something, it could be totally different for
because this trail varies a lot. During the summer months, if you go, it can be really hot, and during the winter months, it could be really cold. There's sections of it that could flood so bad that you're going to be in waist deep water.
Yeah.
parts of it. Right now, I mean, you probably got the trail in as good a conditions as you could have got them, but I'm hosting the Tick this year, and Andy and Amy over A1 Ultras is hosting the Itch. So those were old school ultra races, and they're named properly because the east side is definitely full of ticks, and the west side is definitely full of chiggers, which will leave you with an itch. Um, so you didn't really get too badly into bugs this time. I mean, you probably got a few, I'd imagine, but
Yeah, I think John pulled one off of me.
yeah. So yeah, this trail, depending on the time of year you go, you can get a completely different race.
Yeah, I think I nailed it with the conditions. I think Shane Kevin had cold. I think John had rain. I think Luke had cold. I don't remember what Craig had, but I think I did well. So even with a little bit of cold, it was manageable. So I mean, it's going to be hot as hell, or you're going to get a little bit of cold. So
I do remember thinking, I wish I'd have brought a few more clothes with me.
Layers would be really important because even any time of the year, you get out there in that Ocala National Forest and the weather's different there. Like it's in the early morning, you are going to have that dew point. You're going to have that moisture. You can see that no matter when I go out there, you can see just a fog that floats over the forest in the morning. It really makes it pretty, but it also makes it for very wet. There's just it's like a little microclimate out there too.
Yeah. I think probably one of my biggest mistakes was I had ankle socks, and I'd allowed so much dirt to get into my shoes. And because of that, I developed blisters early on, which I usually don't get blisters. And just totally, that was also hurting later on in the race. Was every step I was feeling the pain of the blisters and stuff, and that's all just from all the dirt getting in. Like I should have had a higher sock just to keep it out, or what are those things called that you put over your shoes?
Gators.
Yeah. So
Gators.
yeah. So that was probably one of my biggest mistakes was my sock choice. So, but those were the only socks that didn't have holes in them. So that's what I had. So, but yeah, good time. We were talking. We weren't going to go 2 hours. Shit, we went 2 hours.
Well, I figured that's what it was going to be, but I guess we could start to close it out with, it's the classic question of the good, the bad, and the ugly. For you, Jeff, and I guess, for you, John, as well on the crew side, for the Big Scrub 150, what was the good, the bad, and the ugly?
Yeah, for me, the good, I was really using this as a trail run or a training run for Tahoe 200. So that's why I didn't have the course record, on my mind. It was on my mind, but so a couple good things is I've been dealing with the peeing issue, and I didn't have this issue this time on the race. So I may have fixed it. I don't know. So the good thing was I felt healthy in that aspect, and I also liked how my legs came around. Like even when I thought I was done, an hour later I was running a 12-minute pace again. So that to me that was the good. The bad, I don't know, the socks, what I just talked about, I don't know if that's the bad, or I would probably call that the ugly, just the wrong choice of the socks, which just cause nasty, not nasty, but I just had a couple blisters. I would call that the ugly. And then the bad was just overnight. I got to figure out the overnight, especially going into Tahoe, how I'm gonna deal with that. So I think I'm still dealing with low iron or something that's causing me just to sleep all the time, and so I got to get that figured out. So.
Yeah, on the crew side, I mean, the good stuff was, man, did we have a turnout, and it was awesome. We had so many people turn out, and everybody was involved. And man, we had some really experienced ultra runners out there, and a lot of people with good ideas and a lot of things just clicking off. So, it was a moving party, and that's a lot of fun. the bad for on the crew side, I would say absolutely was the cold and trying to figure out what to feed Jeff. But the cold even affected the morale of the crew a little bit because I mean we could put on jeans and layer up in a jacket and a hat and all of that, but man, it's still cold when you're when you're out there. And but then, the real ugly thing is that Joe Miller has kind of pushed me in the corner and told me that I have to do this race. So
we're all ready. It's we're all cold. We're all cold out there, and Joe Miller's wearing shorts. I'm like,
yeah,
you asshole.
His calves keep him warm.
I had a warm truck I could get into, but listen, honestly, I did very little crewing, mostly just hanging out. John did all the work.
Oh, that's sweet.
It's good. I hope I get to be on the crew side when someone, I'm waiting for someone to do it, that I'm ready to go out there and help out. So that's what I texted Julian. I'm sure when Andrew Kelly, I'll be out there for Andrew Kelly. John, if you do it, I'll be out there with you. And so, anybody else, I'll try and be out there some part, but, I enjoy being out there. I enjoy being around my friends. I enjoy hanging out. It's a blast. Yeah. So
Heck yeah.
Did
we mention what I said to Joe Miller when?
No, I don't think it's come up. Do you know what Jeff said to you?
He said something really not nice along the lines of something that I could do to myself, Joe Miller.
I was coming off of that fire road. My feet just kept sinking, and I could see them, and I'm like, F you, Joe Miller.
Oh gosh,
good stuff. It was a good time. It was a good. It was a really good birthday party. So I enjoyed it a lot. So I appreciate everyone that was out there. It was good. Cool stuff.
All right, guys. Well, I am going to bed now.
Yep.
good night.
Talk to y'all later.
Bye, y'all.
Yeah.
Yep.
I need to log out of this.
Welcome to the Florida Trail Runners Podcast. Out in the woods, out in the swamps, down by the Willie Coochie. It started with a podcast.
And there we have it for Jeff Iosa. Miss Pacer traveled himself in the Big Scrub 150. It's always a blast to hear about these incredible adventures, going out there, pushing your limits, showcasing that determination, especially, for a birthday run, from all the open prairies, the Ocala National Forest, and everything along the way with the Florida Trail. There is so much history and so much to see. So it's great with events like the Big Scrub 150 where people have to come together. It's more than just a race, It's truly stories and community. But hey, happy birthday to Jeff. Congratulations. And, until next time, happy trails.
The Florida Trail Runner. Feet hit dirt where the palm trees sway. Mossy oaks, palmetto pines, and cypress knees. All grass bending, go find your way. Swarm mist rising, every step I take, I feel it flow. Beach sunrises, beach sunsets, sugar sand all around. From the Swanee River to the St. John's, from Crystal River and the Rainbow Springs, Weeki, Watchee, and Manatees, and the Everglades and Lake Okeechobee. The humidity is sticky, but I love this game. From the Panhandle down to the Keys, running free where the world feels at ease. Florida trails take me higher, through the pines and palmetto. The National Scenic Trail, muddy shoes, sun on my face. Every mile is a wild embrace. Florida trails don't let me go. Through the hammock, the marsh, and the glow. Florida Trail Runner, all over the state. Trail Runner, near and far. Florida Trail Runner, Florida is the home. Out in the woods, out in the swamps, down by the Lake Coochie. It started with a podcast, now it's a thing. The Florida Trail Runner. I see the skunk cakes chasing me down. I'm doing the long haul, running all over town. Aid station to aid station, I see the skunk cakes chasing me down. I'm doing the long haul, running all over town, Starting in the north, Tallahassee. Starting Central Florida, Tampa, Ocala, Orlando, Dade City. Green Swan, headed down south, headed to the Keys, Lake to Ocean, Miami, out to the East Coast, Daytona, Jacksonville, Pioneer Trail.